Video.
Hello, everyone. Happy 2024. And Marco, welcome back to the shop.
Feeling better.
We've both been feeling quite under the weather for the last several weeks, from almost pre-Christmas time into the first part of this year. So we have missed hanging out and making pickups for you guys, and so many of our great video topics have been shelved. And so now here we are. We are going to jam several topics into one video because we're feeling good today. Tomorrow might be a different story. Yeah. So we're going to make like 7 videos in one, okay? So you guys ready for that? First off, Happy New Year to all of you. And 2024 is here. So we have kind of some quick goals we're going to talk about for 2024. And then we're going to get into some other fun stuff that we have for this year. And then a couple of our topics at the end. So you ready?
Yeah.
Ready to rip through this?
Let's
okay.
do it.
So one of the things we're doing in 2024 is launching an artist program. This is something we have had in our heads. We have artists, we have people using our stuff, we have touring people using our stuff. We get asked all the time about who's playing Porters and what are they playing. And so we're going to attempt to collaborate with all the people that we can remember over the years and to start putting together this list. And we even have a friend of ours that's going to kind of be managing the artist communications. And I'm very excited about that. So not much else to share yet about that, but it's coming, and we have some really great players that have been using this stuff for a long time, and we want to mutually feature them, and they can show what they do with pickups, which is very exciting.
Yeah, and that's something that I think like everyone always asks like endorsement or artists, and just with the two of us and like the building of everything, it's just like a little bit like overextending ourselves to like manage that and to make it something that is like awesome and that people want to be a part of. So it's like this is the next round of really trying to make this something like just great for all parties involved and really just get our stuff out there and get them in the hands of people that really dig them. So it's like a cool program, I think, and I'm excited to see what comes of it. So.
Yeah, definitely. And it's for me, it's kind of highlighting is sometimes the artist thing it gets negative connotations because I don't like the word influencer, but I like the word artist. I like the promotion of people that use our stuff, and we want to highlight them. We want to promote their bands. We want to mutually share posts and share sound clips of them. So there's a lot of stuff to that. You'll be seeing some posts on social media about that. You'll probably see some video interviews, some podcasts, some things like that coming up. So lots of cool things in the plans for that for 2024. Another thing we're going to be doing a lot more of is stock specials and custom shop specials. You saw some of that stuff kind of fly through this year, but we're going to be launching kind of like I don't know if it'll be like Marco's specials and Brian's specials necessarily, but it'll be stuff that we kind of put our heads together. One of the things we wanted to get back to is creating our own stuff and creating our own things that we're excited about. Like, hey, let's make this really cool set. You always have crazy ideas, and you're always looking to get the torch out and burn something.
Yeah.
I think so. So you need to burn more things this year, I think.
Yeah.
Probably a good way to put it, right?
I feel like I barely burned anything in 2023.
That's probably why it was a weird end of the year for you.
Just the PAs, I think.
Torch
those were
something.
Like the coolest things that had the torching was the stuff in the Charvel.
Yeah, you can see behind my head there some burnt chrome stuff.
So yeah, just a lot more fun kind of stuff, and that stuff is really hard because you just kind of like roll the dice and hopefully somebody has like that guitar with that pickup set will go into, but we're always down to have a conversation with you if there's something that there was a lot of demand for, or if you're like, oh man, there's 6 emails that we got that people were asking for like a tele custom set with a wide range or something, then maybe we should make a couple of those, so the more that you interact and are like, hey, maybe you should make this, maybe that will help us kind of, know where's easy to go and useful for you guys. So
yeah, and everyone likes a good deal. So if you go to our website, you're going to see the products tab, and then down there is going to be specials. So you'll, from time to time, some specials will come in there, whether it's just a special offer on a couple sets. I think we've got some sets on there right now that are just a specially priced one, but we'll throw the custom shop stuff on there, maybe on our Reverb page as well. So just kind of stay stay in tune with our newsletter, stay in tune with the postings that we make. You never know, like you said, when they're going to drop. So be checking for that. One of the other things we're going to be doing is getting really back into a lot more of the DIY videos. While you were under the weather, I made this really long video of wiring our deluxe HSS loaded guard, and I kind of went through the whole thing, and it's super long. It's like 42 minutes long, and I cut probably 30 minutes off of the filming just to get it down to 42 minutes. But we want to do more stuff like that. We're finding a lot of people really like that content. They like to see how the sausage is made, as you always say, which is one of my favorite expressions. But we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. So if there's topics that you want to see, if there's things you want to know, things you want to learn, our channel is going to be a good place to kind of make that happen. So suggestions down below in the comments would be appreciated. If there's something you're like, hey, how about this, or what about this? We have a huge list that we'll be working through, but if there's specific things that you want, I know a lot of times we get comments, well, like, I wish you would have shown this. Like our last one was the 3P90 thing, and they wish that the clean sound was cleaner than it was. So that's something we could make. Yeah. We could change that and do that. So that is kind of what's coming up with video-wise. We have another thing we're really excited about. It's kind of our own rig rundowns, our personal rig rundowns. We've actually been wanting to film this for probably about 3 weeks, but it's going to take a little bit of orchestration, kind of bringing the show and tell work home from home and bringing it into the shop. So excited about that. Like, what are you looking forward to about like that part of the video? Because it's a little different than anything that we've done before.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember this, but like it's been about 1.5 years maybe, and I remember when we were kind of revamping the whole like video side of thing. I remember that was one of those things that like I suggested to Brian, and he was like, no one cares about us. So I'm glad that
Did I say
finally...
that? Did I say that?
Yeah.
No one cares about that.
No one's going to watch
so
it because we're so influential. And and I'm just glad that like we're turning over that stone and we're going that far. And like, right, who cares about what gear anybody's using? As long as you're gearing, playing the music. But it's interesting, and everybody could go to the same pedal board and it's going to come out differently. And I think it's just a cool inside look as to what we're doing,
Yeah, what we're playing when we're not on the clock, I guess you could say. A lot of times we don't, hopefully you feel this from our channel, but we don't want to be spammy. We realize that this channel exists to share our products, and we want to make money off those products, and that's how we eat and those things. But we want to make sure that we're doing videos that are interesting and helpful. And this is just a look behind the curtain of like, this is what we're playing when we're not here at the shop. This is, some of it's crossover stuff, some of it's not, to be honest. Like we're kind of just mixed up with all these different things. So watch for that, kind of our rig rundown sort of thing. Again, not to impress anyone, but just to let you guys know a little bit more of who we are beyond the YouTube personalities that we can be sometimes. So that's coming up. And then, I'll just kind of share, before we get into our topics, I'll share a quick guitar update for 2024. This is kind of like where we're headed with the business as a whole, and we're really trying to focus in on some of the core businesses. I don't know how many guitars I will build this year, how many guitars we will build this year. That is an unknown number, and it's not something that I'm like completely closing the door. It's just something that right now the focus needs to be in other places. I think that's probably the best way to put it. We've got a couple guitars, including this one back here behind me, that will be finished up and available for sale. This may be the last one that is available for sale for quite some time. I know that there's been people kicking some tires about some builds, and we may still consider taking them on. But we've got, just transparently, we've got probably a couple months of really building up some of these other things that are more of a long-term play for us. And so I think that we're trying to just focus in on that. So that's the quick guitar update. I don't like making the updates super dramatic, but at this point, the passion has to be there to kind of turn the machines on and to start that process, because of how much time it takes and how much other stuff that we are just on the edge of kind of finishing and building and growing. And so guitars will probably take some kind of back seat. I just don't know. I don't know if it's like the third row seat or the second row seat, right? So we'll see. we'll see. It was really fun to start them again this year and kind of build some and get them out there. And thanks for those who did purchase from us. And we'll see where it goes. Like I said,
yeah,
I've learned to never say never. But I also think, like you mentioned before, we're just trying to do some things very, very focused and very intentional this year. Because of all the things we sort of cleared off the plate, now we're ready to kind of take this thing where we want it to go. So that's going to require a lot of time that we need to focus on that. So there you go. Quick update on guitars. So we've got 2 topics to jump into. This is just a rapid fire video, and let us know what you think about these longer content talking videos. We really enjoy kind of just sitting here and yakking about stuff, but we thought we'd put some of these topics all into this update because really some of these are relative to a lot of stuff we've been talking about. First one is we're talking about NAMM, and then the second one is the subject of, are we guitar snobs? So we'll get to that one in a second. But all right, NAMM's coming up in a couple weeks. Are we going?
We are not going, unfortunately. We did go to the 2020 NAMM show, which already now seems like a fever dream. It's like, did that happen? Were we there?
Like 18 years ago. I think.
Yeah, it feels so long ago.
In dog years, which is like gear years or something. We should come up with a saying for that.
But we really wish we would have been able to go. It's just kind of the timing. It kind of is. It mirrors the guitar thing where it's like, well, we've got like these are the things on the burner, we got to make sure to take them off before they burn. And, it's just kind of one of those things that like the decision was kind of, it just made itself, that decision.
That's a good way to put it.
And, once we realized that, we were quickly like, well, what are we going to do this year to maybe make it to the, to the 2025 NAMM show or whatever. So it's like that almost, it's like we're already kind of in that mode, but we really hope that it's a good show and that everybody that's there has a good time. I've seen some people saying, oh, we'll be in this booth and we'll be in that booth, but I kind of forgot. I was like, oh, the NAMM show is this month.
I know, it's coming up, yeah.
So the year is already flying by.
It is, and I'm curious to see, like, truthfully, as a business owner and the guy that has to agree to pay that ridiculous amount of money to go down there, there's always the trade-off. Are we going to make money at this? Are we going to lose money? Are we going to miss out on opportunities, on meetings? A bunch of people that I want to meet with are not going to be there. There's some people that are going to be there.
Yeah.
That, oh man, it would be really nice to have a conversation with them. But the nature of our business is continuing to change. We still have some great dealers and builders that we're working with, but I think less of those type of people are going to be at the show, from what I can kind of tell on the industry. So I'm just curious to see if that's really true. If there's not as many buyers this year. If there's more public there this year, that's kind of a good and bad because you can't sell directly to them. So I'm just curious. And if anyone is going to the NAMM show, what's kind of your take? Are you feeling like it's going to be worth it? Are you kind of like pessimistic about it? I don't know. I mean, I think I don't want to spend any hard-earned money on it this year. I don't have enough confidence in feeling like it's going to do what we need it to do. Yeah. I think 2020 show, I think we were on the budget, on the cheap. I think it was close to $15,000 that it cost us to go there, like with saving money on every aspect of the travel, of the meals, of the, all that stuff. Yeah. So is that money going to translate into just what it costs, and then you're working backwards and you're trying to play catch up, or can it spring you forward? I don't really know. I think there's a lot of kind of varying opinions about NAMM out there. Yeah,
and I know it's like kind of being sort of the devil's advocate or whatever here. Like, I know it maybe sounds weird, like, oh, this gear company is like kind of complaining like, oh, we can't go and do that. But I remember the year that we did go, it's like there's so many factors at play. And I think one of the booths, I won't name the product, but I know we still have it in the shop. We hang it up and we look at it, and it always gives us a chuckle. But there was a vendor that was there, and like a pretty good idea, but like not anything super revolutionary. But it's like they made the trek and the effort to go and do that. But I remember seeing them leave like a day or two early, or a day and a half early.
They left early
because they're like, everyone's just walking past my booth or whatever, and I couldn't help but kind of like feel for that company. And I was like, man, they really put it all on the line. And like no one stopped and talked to them, and you know, it's like that is the unfortunate ugly side, and while you do want to be there, and like I want everyone there to have a good time and see cool stuff, like there is also that like underbelly of the NAMM show that doesn't really get talked about, and but yeah, it can be a tremendous thing, you know, being there and having these conversations. Like it's like if you have enough conversations, you're like, that $15,000 is the cost of being in the same room with these people, which, you know, you look at some of these artists or some of these companies and you're like, yeah, that's not that much money to be around all of these people. So it is kind of like, you know, it's a fine line between, you know, just the stuff that goes on in the NAMM show, and it goes one way for some companies and the other way for others. I guess that's just the way conventions go.
Yeah, you don't know until you take the risk, and I think for us, 2020 was about taking the biggest risk that we've ever taken as a business in one single event, and having that single event like be the thing that, you know, took us to the next level, whatever the next level is. And I kind of laugh at myself because I'm obviously okay to take risks and to try things, otherwise this wouldn't exist. But it's like taking that next risk and like what are we trying to get to? You know, for me it was like getting the guitars out there in public and seeing what people thought of them, and would that mean we had like 600 guitar orders? It didn't mean that. You know? So we put it out there, not that that's the only way to get certain products out there, but it wasn't like we were so busy, but we're still working with people that we met at the show or that we closed deals at the show. So again, there's all sorts of arguments probably for and against going. At this point this year it was just like, nope, it's not going to work out, and we'll wait and see, because this is kind of the first non-weird NAMM show since 2020, because there was a bunch of different shows with a lot of rules and regulations with COVID stuff, and this is kind of the first normal non-COVID NAMM, even though COVID's kind of still floating around, if you will. So it'll be interesting to see. I have no clue. I have no clue. So that's where we're at with the NAMM show. Okay, last topic of this video. Thank you guys for hanging in with this this video. But okay, Marco, I think we realized last year, maybe you realized this sooner, but we're guitar snobs. It's come to this. We are guitar snobs, and I'm gonna try to kind of take it from the business owner angle, and then I think some of the things will cross over into how you're feeling. But, we were making a video of, I'm just gonna say it was a Harley Benton Strat, and we bought one of the used ones on. You've probably seen it on our channel. The thing will not stay in tune for anything. I just about ran it through the bandsaw. Not kidding. We couldn't make a 20-second sound clip with this guitar without it going out of tune, and it's been set up, it's been tweaked, it's been gone through, and it just can't hang. And having all these guitars in here, we have varying dollar amounts of guitars. We've got your Squires, we've got like a Heritage, we've got some nicer high-end stuff. I'm just kind of tired of dealing with the cheap stuff and the poorly made stuff, because we're trying to make demos and we're trying to have something that stays in tune. A customer walks in and we have to make excuses for some of our crappy guitars in here, and that feels really bad for me. Or like if you're out here just being like, well, don't play that one because it won't stay in tune, or the high E tuner doesn't move, so just ignore that, but listen to the pickups, and that feels so stupid. When you're coming to try to show the product and showcase them, you just want to pick up something that's not only inspiring, but it's built well, and it probably comes from the fact that we make guitars and kind of have some standards there. But we also can't buy every guitar, can't be thousands of dollars worth of a guitar. So that's kind of where I think I've become definitely a guitar snob.
And you may think he's joking about taking a guitar to the bandsaw, but I've seen it. I've seen several guitars get sawn up, and it's like once they are not good, and mostly guitars that we ourselves built, but it's like once we're like, nope, back to the drawing board. He has no hesitation about taking something back there, and
the bandsaw.
Because it's just like you got to just move on sometimes. And there is a lot of factors at play. I know that like we don't have the most like climate controlled shop, and of course guitars are made out of wood, and what does wood do when it gets really cold or really hot? It does all sorts of crazy stuff, you know. But there has been a, you know, it's like when you see a really well made instrument, it seems a little less prone to some of those factors. Not all of them. I guess that's kind of like the difference between duds and what's studs? I don't know. What's the opposite of a dud?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a catchy word for that when you find like a dream guitar.
Yeah.
So, you know, that there's an element of that. But yeah, I think just after a while, after you spend some time playing guitar, you really start to maybe make some correlations. You're like, oh, this guitar, it's just so much fun to play, or it's not getting in my way. And you know, or like this, there's just so many factors that go into like a guitar, why a guitar like works for you. But after a while, you're like, oh, every 10 out of 10 of these like nice guitars I picked up, they seem to be fine. But sometimes I'm there at the old GC picking up Squire after Squire after Squire, and like, okay, this one can be good if you spend an hour or two on it.
Yeah. And
you know, that's not to say, because I also still love like a punk rock guitar, but it's like you almost have to like, I don't know, you can't pick those out either. Those are almost like as elusive as the dream guitars, like the ones that just like, like sticker price are, you know, not that impressive, or they look kind of ugly, or they're beat up, but they just like deliver the goods, you know, and those are the ones that you drop aftermarket pickups into, and you play out, and you're not worried about someone walking off with your guitar case or whatever. Like that's how I feel about my first Flying V, which maybe we'll bring that in for an episode at some point.
That'd be fun.
But it's like I look at that guitar and I'm just like, it's nothing special. But every time I play it, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. But maybe that, you know, it doesn't have a high dollar value, but it's got a high like sentimental value. Yeah. So maybe that like that's what gets through the snobby thing. But I definitely would consider myself one, and I just like I don't know. Once you just get used to what you like, and you realize that the other stuff doesn't do that, you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna just keep using this stuff.
Yeah, and I think we'll kind of continue more on this guitar snob topic, but really just want to like throw that out there. Basically, like we need to openly admit that we kind of have become guitar snobs, and for us, it's like we have bought nicer stuff, and then that kind of like makes you want to raise the standard of everything else. And I know you guys know that are watching this, you kind of feel the same way. But then you're always trying to find the good deal. You're trying to find the bang for the buck. And some people are like, oh, this $300 guitar is better than everything else. And sometimes that's the case, sometimes that's not. And it ultimately is your own personal take on that. But there's no doubt that some things are built better than others. And that's really what we've kind of come to the conclusion of. Like, we want to use something that we want to pick it up, and we want to know that when we tune it, it's going to stay there, and that we're just going to have fun. And we kind of don't want to work on guitars all the time. We love doing guitars, but we don't want to work on them all the time. We don't want to spend, like you said earlier, I always got to take 3 hours to get this thing up to operational standards. And it's like, man, I don't really want to do that. If we're swapping pickups into something to show you guys what our pickups sound like, I just want to swap the pickups. I don't want to fix 18 different frets and redo the nut and change out the tuners. And like, as much as I love working on guitars, I just don't want to do that. So that's kind of where all of that came from. Lots of stuff in this video. If you have any specific things you want us to go on more, or you have questions or comments about anything you saw in this video, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate the just the fun that we've had on this channel, just kind of being ourselves. Again, we have sort of a style. It's just very much like here it is, here's what we do, and we want to continue to show you guys that this year. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel and you're still watching this, you get a cookie or something, free shipping on your next order. I don't know, hit us up for that. But yeah, we appreciate you guys, and thank you for being a part of this Porter journey. We've got a lot of things in our head for this year, and we're really excited to kind of work them out, and you'll start seeing more of that as soon as this video publishes.
Yeah, I'm just really thankful for you guys, and I hope it's a good year.
Definitely. See you guys.